Welcome back to the Marvel Movie Minute, a daily podcast where we disassemble a film from the Marvel Cinematic Universe in 1 minute segments and then examine it in obsessive and occasionally hilarious detail. I'm Kyle Olson from the Swashbuckling Ladies Debate Society podcast.
Hey, and I'm Rob Cabasco, and Kyle.
Yes, sir.
I don't know how other way to say this, but in the minute that we were about to listen to, I get completely punked out by Agent Coulson.
You do it.
It's so
epic.
Embarrassing, and I don't care. It's in there because it's history.
That's right.
And I'm cool. Oh my God, I'm such a tool. Anyway. What minute is this?
We are at minute 121 of Iron Man 2 from 2010, directed by Jon Favreau. But we're not here to talk about Jon Favreau. No, sir. We are here to talk about Mr. Clark Gregg, because this is the second part of our epic interview with him. And we get into some other stuff about... you know what? I don't even want to tell you what you're about to hear, because this is what... the other one was... It was a little bit formal, I'll say. Part one was a little stiff because we were still getting used to each other. By this point, he's like, oh, these guys are just a couple of nerdy fanboys. And this is where he starts messing with us. Yes. And it's glorious, and we highly deserved it. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the conclusion of our interview with Agent Coulson himself, Mr. Clark Gregg. Roll it. Yeah, over the course of that show, you got to work with a lot of people. So a lot of really amazing actors. I met Edward James almost at a convention, and he couldn't have been nicer. He talked to me for like 10 minutes about Stand and Deliver.
Yeah, great guy. Great guy.
It was amazing. So, all right, so chronologically, you were actually the first person to actually wield Cap's shield in the MCU.
I think so. I never was clear if that was a prototype or if that was the actual article.
We had that debate as well, trying to figure out exactly what that thing was.
Some stuff that was missing from it. Yes. Do you know what this is? It was a great line that they wrote.
Because, of course, Coulson would know. So, obviously, Coulson is the Cap fanboy. Who was your big hero, comic book hero, when you were growing up?
I had two. It was the 70s. I was really into Adam Warlock, and I really loved the way Jim Starlin drew him. I was an obsessed. I would just spend my notebooks. My mother sent them to me, and it's all just me trying to draw like Jim Starlin, who I've now met and hung out with, and I'm just like can barely be around him. I get so tongue-tied. And I also loved. It was the kung fu. It was like Enter the Dragon, Bruce Lee days. So I also really loved Iron Fist.
Yes.
And Iron Man.
Of course. So let's talk about Thor, the post-credit scene. So like you obviously went out to the desert and shot this thing. Was that part of Iron Man 2 production, or were you already on Thor and that was Sir Kenneth's production? I'm
pretty sure that was a very early day on Thor, that they had the crater out there. Is that right? I could be messing that up.
We couldn't find it in our
very early day of Thor that I went out and shot that, and then ended up as the post-credit scene there. Or else they built that crater early. But no, I think it was an early day of Thor, and it just timed out with the post-production of Iron Man 2.
So as we were going through, at one point I was talking about some of my favorite Iron Man plots, and I was kind of sad that they never got to them, and one of them I mentioned was Armor Wars, and now they're actually doing Armor Wars. Is there any classic things that you had read that were your favorite storylines that you're hoping eventually will show up in the MCU?
Yeah, Adam Warlock.
It looks like James Gunn is going to be maybe in Guardians 3.
There's been some rumblings. If anybody's going to do it, I think he's the one.
Yeah. All right. So now that Coulson's time sadly might be over, are you sort of out of the disinformation game? Like, do you no longer have to keep any secrets because they don't tell you anything anymore?
Well, I just don't think I have any anymore. they've all been shown. Did I mention that Coulson dies in the event? No, people know that. Yeah.
Is that a relief?
It wasn't always easy to keep all those secrets, especially when you were kind of doing press and trying on the fly to remember what am I allowed to say, what am I not allowed to say. No, I'll tell you what's fun is that I get to watch WandaVision, which I loved, or Winter Soldier, which I'm loving, and I don't know what's going to happen. I see Agent Carter the Younger show up, and I'm thrilled and waiting for that. And it's nice. I get to be an audience member.
I don't know if you're allowed to say if you have been asked to do anything for What If.
What's What If? That's a show they're doing?
So that's
Yeah,
the animated.
it's
It's the
the
animated
animated
show.
show.
It's animated, and they're doing like multiverse stuff.
He's messing with us.
I know
Oh,
what
you
it
are? I was like, how do you not know that?
It's
I
him
wanted to say-
this is a professional not answering the question.
No, I don't. I generally don't. I don't think I would be allowed to say, but I don't have any
Okay,
comment.
I'm just curious. It's just at the top of my head.
Well, we hope. Let me just put it this way: with all the stuff they're doing on Disney Plus, there's a lot of shows. They have flashback scenes. I hope that they find things that work into your schedule and bring you fulfillment and make you happy and make all of us happy, because we would love. Everyone wants to see more Agent Coulson. Bottom line.
Thanks. That's really nice. You know, I had the greatest run and the greatest time doing each of the movies. I loved doing all of it, and I really had a blast. I don't yearn for anything. It's really flattering to me that people do seem to kind of make a buzz about when's he going to show up, and I just enjoy watching what Kevin and everybody's doing. And Kevin's been really cool, as he always is and always has been to me. I've seen places where people felt like S.H.I.E.L.D. or something had been decanonized by stuff that happened in WandaVision in ways I couldn't even quite follow, and I'm pretty adept at this stuff.
Yeah.
And he's so classy to the fans. I just think that's why Marvel has done something so special, is that their number one priority is taking care of fans, not just the original gangsters, old school Marvel fans like me and even older, but the ones that have now been bred. There's an awful lot of people who are canonized Marvel fans who've started with the movies and gone into comics, etc. And I read this comment the other day where someone said that about, kind of did this diminish Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And he said, I think you're really underestimating how powerful and passionate the fans of that show and the Netflix shows are and were. And I would never underestimate that or them or the possibility of those characters, because I really want to see Charlie Cox. I really want to see people from that. I love those Netflix shows, and I want to see those. I'd love to see it all get crossed over in as much as it could, because I think that's what the Marvel fans want. But I also, it's hard to not say, look, at this point, they've really earned it. Let's see where they want to go. If they just take a few wrong steps, maybe you can bring this up. But it's just been really, really amazing to watch what they've done.
Yeah, we've always been big Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans, so I've been doing my best to debunk the debunkers, because it's still a vital part of the MCU.
There's room for everyone to have to.
Exactly, yeah,
Yes,
right. I mean,
yes.
there's even rumors that Quake might be showing up again, so, that would do a lot to cement their place. If they can't have you, then at least they'll have one of your team.
Yes.
If sadly, that's the end of Coulson.
Because aren't they talking about Secret Invasion? Isn't there?
Secret Invasion is coming, so you could play a Skrull.
Again?
Right?
Yeah, but Quake. I mean, I don't know. I'm actually really interested in the idea that perhaps Chloe Bennett as a Powerpuff Girl
Yeah.
would be a really shocking crossover to pop through into Secret Invasion.
Wow. Call the CW. I'm sure they'd love to have the connection. So, if Jon Favreau should call you again and say, "Hey, I'm doing this Star Wars stuff now. I know you're a Star Wars fan. Would you?" But the question I have is, would you be interested in being involved as a writer, a director, or an actor?
Yes.
The right answer. Right answer.
Yes, any of those. I mean, it's really fun. I feel like my friend Ming-Na Wen has really staked out that
Yeah, right?
territory. She's crossed over and is now Fennec Shand.
Yeah.
And I think that's
Right.
her territory now.
She's the trifecta. She's the Disney princess, and in Star Wars, and in Marvel.
Yeah.
So you need to get an animated character so you could come at her.
Maybe I need to call somebody about this what if thing.
That's true. I mean, hey, second season. We got ideas. We'll be happy to pitch.
Oh,
for
we've
you.
been doing that. We have been working on that. Awesome.
One of the things I wanted to necessarily question, but thank you for, is whenever Agent Coulson showed up in something other than like in a video game or thing, it was always you. And I want to say how much I appreciated that. Like the fact that you actually would go and record voice for the Lego game or for Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man, all those things. The fact that it was still you, I thought was a really, really cool thing. And it always made me feel good that you actually like were still owning the character and not just letting some other guy do it.
I remember one of my agents was like, "What are you doing? You're slammed this week. You're really going to go there and record video game noises for 6 hours?" And I said, "Yeah." Yeah, what? I don't want to hear some weird voice coming to me from some kid's room. Yeah.
We talked about, one, how much we love your character in it and the pivotal part it plays. You got that scene with the prototype shield. Is there any funny moment that you can recall from that shoot that just sticks with you today that we've never heard before?
What do I remember? I mean, I think really, unfortunately, to me, the most outrageous part of it was the story that we already told, because I didn't have that many scenes, but just being there and kind of riffing about New Mexico and finding out about the Thor's hammer was about as well as it got for me.
Yeah. Okay. No. I think that's really interesting to see, again, when you look back and how much this character has meant and everything you've done, to know that, they're winging it in the early days of this. And it's even more of a testament, I think, to the performances and the production, to see how much we still love this stuff now 10 years later. It's just awesome.
So of Iron Man and Iron Man 2, are there any of the specific scenes that you were a huge fan of, even ones that you necessarily weren't in?
In Iron Man 2, I mean, that's where we meet War Machine, right?
Yep. First War Machine, that's Whiplash.
I was really psyched to see Don Cheadle, who I have so much respect for, coming in as War Machine. I loved Sam's Justin Hammer.
Yes. Yeah.
As I said, just to the day that I got to watch Gary Shandling, who was friends with people I knew, and I'd met him a couple times, and just to watch him work and riff and act, be really this interesting actor, was a big deal that I was really glad I had when he left us too soon. I mean, I also thought what Ricky Rourke did was really fascinating in that movie.
Did you have much interaction with him? You didn't have any scenes, but
I didn't have any. I just was kind of watched him afterwards and thought it was remarkable. I remember seeing Iron Man. I remember being invited to go see a very early screening. In fact, all the kind of Iron Man stuff, all the Pulsar stuff, all the jet stuff was just bubbles of cartoon. It hadn't been filled in yet, and there was a lot of scenes that were still very early digital stuff. And I remember walking out just going, oh man, if this is this much fun with little cartoon bubbles, this movie might really work. Just because Robert and the cast and Jeff Bridges and Gwyneth and everybody was just so perfect. And it really worked. And I thought, and I really, to this day, I think what that team, Kevin, John, Robert, the writers, the tonal balance that they found of comedy and drama and stakes has been the blend that has worked in different shades and forms, through to this day. I was shocked how funny Endgame was.
Yeah. Right.
In the middle of all that drama.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, thanks, really, guys. Again, we just really appreciate it. Thank you for all your work. We look forward to seeing everything you're in next. And stay well, stay safe.
We promise that we won't use Mandy again to pressure you to do anything else.
Anytime. That's the way to go. I'll see you guys later.
Thank you very much. Bye. Can you believe that happened?
Wait,
can you believe that?
No, I can't, because he was so great. We're going to talk about this more in the next minute. We're going to do a whole post-interview wrap-up. I just want to say,
we know that everyone is still coming down from that, just like we were coming down from it afterwards.
Awesome. Just fantastic. What a great experience. And thank you to him once again.
Yes. We'll say thank you very much to Mr. Clark Gregg. So we're going to, in our next episode, we're going to talk a little about how this happened, what we were thinking beforehand, what we were thinking during and after, and we're going to get into all that stuff. So thank you everyone for listening and for indulging us as we got to talk to one of our favorite actors. It was super fun. If you enjoyed that as much as we enjoyed doing it, first of all, that's impossible. But if it even slightly as much as we enjoyed doing it, why not throw a couple of stars our way? We had a gosh darn movie star on our show. If that's not worthy of 5 stars, I don't know what is. So go to Apple Podcasts, go to Google Podcasts, to Spotify, wherever it is that you get your podcast, wherever you can leave a review. Leave a couple reviews and go, I can't believe these 2 nerdy schlubs got to talk to Agent Coulson himself. I don't mind if you can just quote that if you want. That's fine.
Yeah, actually, that totally would be fine.
I'm
like,
absolutely fine
sure.
with that. So,
yes.
Throw it up there. It helps people find the show, and lets us know that you're listening. So, and thank you all. So we are going to be back to talk more about behind-the-scenes stuff about Iron Man 2 and the show itself. So you do not want to miss it. So be back here for minute 122. Enough said.
Bye.